I won't say his name, but I'll say like we were in under 10s.
And we were getting fed multivitamins.
We were getting fed multivitamins at half time. Like, that's no joke. You know, like that's real. Did that ingrain a winning culture in my mind? Maybe. I don't. I'm not going to say yes, but who knows?
Did you hit record on these?
Yeah, it's ready to go now.
Let's go.
Are they recording?
They're all recording.
Beautiful. You ready?
Let's do it, baby.
Let's rock and roll.
Why don't you just read off it?
I don't want to read off it because I don't want to read off it for the very first paragraph.
I feel like you would. It's your first episode. You would be reading off it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the very first show.
No, it's not with Nick. I'm with
I'm not
I'm
even
just
laughing.
gonna-
He's
I'm just
doing
gonna-
this.
Welcome to the very first episode of the RDO show. I am your host, George Spinos, and I've put this show together to highlight the stories of individuals who are trailblazing in their field. And hopefully you'll be able to find some value and, if anything else, a little bit of entertainment. So without further ado, let me introduce to you our very first guest, Mr. Nick Retsas. Cafe owner extraordinaire, Nick runs 2 bustling cafes on either side of Earlwood, Frank and Chich and Old Mates. Nick was also the owner of Bean House, a small espresso bar in the heart of Redfern, where both him and his dad were the one-stop shop for coffee, food, and electric atmosphere. Nick's story is one of transformation. Back in high school, he had a bit of a reputation. Let's just say he wasn't an A-grade student. But fast forward to today, and he's built an incredible life through hard work, determination, and hustle. He's not just a business owner. He's a guy who lives what he preaches, whether that's running cafes, cranking it at the gym, or stepping into his new role as a father. Nick puts all into everything he does. For me, it's extra special to have Nick as our first guest because he's proof that with hard work, loyalty, and vision, you can turn your life into something extraordinary. Plus, it's not every day you get to sit down and reminisce with a mate who's been there through thick and thin. So now let me just dislodge your cock out of my mouth and we'll begin the show. So I guess, thanks for coming on first of all. I appreciate it. I guess, where did it all start? You know, tell me a bit about school, like the final years of school, post school, and you know, your first cafe job.
School's not for everyone. It definitely wasn't for me. You're either academic or you're not, and I definitely wasn't. I don't regret anything during that time.
100%.
I think we had the best laughs, and still having that same friendship circle we did from year 5. You know, it's just the memories. We could talk about it every Friday, Saturday night. But yeah, look, on the sport field in school, you know, I felt like I did well from year 7 to year 12. But yeah, the books.
It's always the books, and that's what they always crank onto you. It's like, that's the most important thing.
I mean, my mum and dad still sent me to tutoring, even up until year 12. I didn't have a pencil case from year 9 onwards, but I was still getting pushed to keep going. But I mean, like I said, I finished year 12. I did the HSC. Didn't get a mark, but still got to finish, graduate, and I guess they're like the times that you never forget. So.
And post school, what did you do after school?
Post school, what didn't I do? I worked at a supplement shop. That was the first job I ever had. I was just selling protein bags and protein bars out of a little hole in the wall near a gym in Marrickville, which is now Fitness Playground. But furniture removals, plumbing, carpentry,
Jack of all trades.
and then fell into hospo.
Tell us about that first job.
In hospo?
Yeah.
So I used to go to this cafe called Euro Bar in Earlwood when I was in year 12, year 11, and then when I got my first job, I'd go there after work. And the girl running it, who's a good friend of mine now, Jahan, she was always like, you'd be really good at this, you'd be really good at this. And obviously, being there every arvo, she was there every time I got fired from a job or laid off. But yeah, I think I was about 20 or 19 when I started, and I just worked there in the kitchen doing dishes. I did Saturday and Sunday. Me and my brother, we would like share that shift. until she was like, you need to be outside on the floor. And
So you started from the bottom, literally.
started from the bottom, washing dishes, and it was still super fun. It was extremely hard. The load, and it was a busy cafe, so the load was intense. It never ended. You would like wash your dishes, you'd set the station up, you'd think you're really tidy, and then there'd be just
So fuck
100 dishes coming in, you go fuck, and you just keep rolling. But yeah, did that, then moved to the floor, and I was a little nervous. Like I just going from starting a plumbing apprenticeship, which again, it was just that theory side that I could never get right, and I fell so far behind TAFE after almost 3 years that I just sacked it. But being 20 years old and having friends who are in the middle of uni degrees, having friends who are about to finish their trades, and you're now becoming a waiter, I was a little bit nervous.
I remember the weekend that just before you were starting to go out on the floor, you actually had the menu.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No.
You had the menu and you were reciting, you were trying to memorize every single part of the menu.
Yeah, it was whack. I just, yeah, and because I was from the area as well, I knew so many people. Not that I felt degraded, but I don't know, you've got that
feel
little
like
bit
you're
in
starting
you.
from behind.
Yeah, yeah. And, but after a week or two, I was sweet, and then it just becomes
You just fell
so
into
natural,
place.
and then yeah, got put onto the coffee machine, learned. I got fired from that job, I think 4 or 5 times as well. I literally, it just never ended. One time, it was New Year's, like the last day of the year, and she just lost it at me, and just that was it. I went back like 3 weeks later when they reopened, asked for my job back, but I just couldn't hold a job to save my life.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fucking hell. So if we're starting at the dishes and then working our way up, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And you, through high school, you're always a great shit talker.
Yeah.
And people can see now.
Yeah.
So do you think that? What do you think was why were you scared? Given that you're such a good talker, what do you think was what kind of self-doubt was in the back of your mind there?
No, I just felt like people look down on you. Like for me, always, everyone wants to be the best at what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like at that moment, in that point of time in my life, I don't know. Again, I'm not degrading waiters or waitresses. For me personally, to where I thought I should have been,
You weren't at that level yet.
I just wasn't there, and it felt funny. But again, I didn't think I would be owning a cafe. It was never a dream to open a cafe. It was nothing I worked towards. I just started working as a waiter. It was me and 8 girls. I mean, when you're 20 years old and you're working with 8
dream.
chicks, it's like
Plus
I
all the
wasn't
rest that are
complaining.
walking in.
Exactly. So it was fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so since that point and up until now, looking back on that entire journey from washing dishes to now owning 2 cafes and whatever else is in the pipeline,
Yeah.
what do you think are some things that you are proud of yourself? And I want you to toot your own horn. I know you don't feel comfortable doing it, but
From then till now,
from then till now,
what am I proud of?
Yeah,
personally?
about yourself.
Business in general.
just business,
Business related or
anything related.
anything. I just think that it's more personal. I don't think it's business. I don't see myself as this entrepreneur businessman. I'm more proud of the person that I've become. Just family orientated, morals and values and things like that. That's what makes me most proud. Like opening my first shop in Redfern, I think I was 22. I'm more proud at the fact that I moved out of home that same year. I'm more proud of the fact that I was able to become a man and start to cook and clean and do my washing and laundry and everything. Not for the first 3 months. We actually Uber Eats, went to the laundromat and got cleaners in every single week.
I used to have to take the garbage bags up.
Yeah.
to the laundry.
But that side, that's when you start to feel like a man. That growth, like my relationship with my family got better. When you're 18, 19, 20 and your mum asks you to go for a coffee, you don't want to go. It's just not what you want to do. You'd rather be spending that time with the boys or with girls or whatever. But Sundays became a day with me and my mum. We would meet at a cafe in Jolly Chul every Sunday. We'd have breakfast together. That side, that's what made me happy. Obviously, more responsibility, and you kind of just have to step up. When I opened Redfern, I wasn't ready to open a cafe. It just got sprung on me. I did it, and it was like 6 months of regret at the start.
Tell me, not to jump in, but tell me a bit how that started, how that came about, and what that first 6 months was like.
So I was actually unemployed at the time, right? So I didn't have a job, And I'll never forget this night. I was just chilling with my mate. We're in the backyard, playing cards, smoking ciggies, listening to music. And my dad came home one day, and he just, like an old school, he just came, he walks in the back, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "there's a space in Redfern if you want to do a cafe." And I was like, "Oh yeah?" And he just said, "It's 50 square meters. It's a shell. They've got counters, everything set up. They just need an operator. You'll rent the space from them, but it's your business." And then I just remember screaming, we're high-fiving, saying, "Oh, you're going to be a business owner, we'll carry on, we're losing it." And honestly, like 3 months later, we opened Bean House. So that was just, I went in, looked at the space, spoke to the landlord, had no idea what leases were, what anything was. I took my mate who's a real estate agent, he came with me, negotiated a lease, all the rent-free periods, everything like that. Spoke to my old boss who, from the cafe, over there, she sold, so we kept in contact, and she helped me massively as well. And I would just write these lists, these to-do lists, and I would just get them done. So like, point of sale, like everyone knows like the basic, whenever you think of someone opening a shop, it's just like the brand, the name, and all the emphasis goes to that, and then all these other things get neglected, especially when you have no help, when you don't know what you're doing. Point of sales, bins, recycling, electric, plumbing, gas, all these different things, just winging it from the start, all the way through. Menu, then it's hiring, people coming in. Like, I don't even know what I'm asking these people, but I'm asking them anything. And we opened with me, a chick that we hired for the barista role. She was great. My old man and a friend of mine, Josh, Crazy Nonna. He helped me massively then. And he wasn't even in hospitality. I think he was working for Tyro, which was the terminal company, right, the F-Boss. Yeah. So, and Alexi, I can't forget it because he'll kill me if I don't mention that. But yeah,
Wow. Okay, so that was a pretty crazy start. And what do you think were some of the biggest differences from starting Bean House to starting, Frank and Chich?
I think Bean House is actually better than Frank and Chich.
In what way?
You think you have it down pat the first time, but then just new problems will arise every time. And even now, after the third time with old mates, or the fourth time now, I'm actually helping a friend of mine open a sandwich shop in San Susie. But these new problems arise, and like I said, it's minimised and it's obviously a lot smoother, but there's always different problems that just come out of nowhere. So I think from the difference, I don't know, just like I said, being more organised, just knowing the boxes to tick. But Bean House was actually quite smooth. It was more, we were quiet.
First time,
we opened, we were dead. We were dead for like 6 months. I regretted it every day.
Really?
We used to get there, and keep in mind, I've gone from being unemployed. So now I'm getting up at 4:30 to get to the shop at 5:15, set up, and then just work from 6 till 3 with absolutely no one coming in the doors for 6 months.
6 days a week? 6 or
7 days we started.
That's right.
We started 7. It was fucked. Honestly, I'll never forget it. It was just, especially when you've gone from working at like a really busy, happening place, at the time, and then just no one coming in, and you just don't understand why. Extremely disheartening. And I had it was me, my dad, and one other staff member, and it was just, even that was just like alarming.
Yeah.
I was only paying one staff because we weren't drawing a wage at the beginning.
Wow, that's crazy.
Except for her. But yeah.
Wow, okay. And Bean House was, you were operating under another person's lease, not under your own lease, but in another premises, and then going to Frank and Chich where you sort of had all this design freedom.
Yeah.
Was that exciting? Did you get help from other people?
Yeah, so tough place. Like it all depends on the fit out what you're given, like that canvas, whether it's blank or not. Frank and Chich is like an old, it's almost like it's a house essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like a timber floors, white walls. It's just, and then we just came up with, I'd say it's simple. I wouldn't say Frank and Chich is anything crazy. Layout's good, lots of room, and then like small little bits and pieces, lights and stuff like that. I had a friend help me, Habitat Housing. He absolutely smacked it with the tiles. I'll never forget those Spanish tiles from Surface Gallery. 180 a square meter. I just laugh about it every day. I'm gonna take them with me and do my bathroom when I get that property. So
The tiles are expensive.
ridiculous. But I guess you just like I said, you don't know what to hone in on and focus at the start. You're just excited to open, and you've got a million things running through your mind. Looking back, there's obviously time and energy that you would put in specific parts, and there's things that you wouldn't really bother with, and that's probably one of them. So yeah, that's
And all those things you learned from those first two, did that carry on to Old Mates or?
yeah. Old Mates was slick. Old Mates, I'm probably most proud of Old Mates. It's just if from behind the counter, because obviously from face value, from a customer walking in, the terrazzo, it's clean, the walls, everything's smick. But like from an operations point of view, that's where I get excited. And if you are in the industry and you came behind the counter and you saw the flow and how it all goes, I'm super proud of that. That's a good one for me.
Would you say that's one of the most important parts of a cafe? Sort of the operations and the systems in place and how they operate.
Yeah. I mean, everyone talks about staff. Like if you talk about any industry, but for example, we're talking hospo. If you were to talk, when someone mentions hospo, they talk about staff. Oh, staff, wages, but like that's all dependent on the fit out and how you have this set and how it's going to be running. If you've got this huge space and things are everywhere, you're going to need more staff. But the way it's just super streamlined.
Do you think that makes it easier for the staff to operate as well?
100%. Like if you're a barista and, like even with the equipment that we use, our grinders, our queen spin, knock tube, like if you've made coffee before, these are all modern day, these new pieces of equipment that just make it extra fun.
You're
to
saving
work with.
those a few seconds here, a few seconds there.
But it's almost like if you were a race car driver and you were getting given top line cars to drive as a driver, you'd be stoked. That's what it's like here. People who, if you were to come and get a job at Old Mates and you're a barista, you are just looking at this thing and you're loving it. And that's what it's like. And that's for the kitchen, for the front of house, for anyone. It's, in terms of just that slick, streamlined, those finishes, it's just...
Yeah, so those kind of investments, they're for the people working there, but ultimately the customer experience is enhanced from that. Beautiful. Okay, so let's say someone wants to open their first cafe. Let's say, I want to open my first cafe. I come to you and I say, look, I want to open a cafe. I know nothing of cafes. I know nothing of locations, but I just want some tips to get me off the ground. What do you think are some valuable insights you can give?
It's honestly, it's just organization. I always say the word. It's super, like it's just one of those generic. You need to be organized. Like your parents say
that's cliche.
Your parents say to you when you're 12 years old. You just need to be organized. If you're organized, you'll make life so much easier for yourself, and you'll enjoy, that whole process. Like when we did, Bean House is different because Bean House was just purely adrenaline, like at 22, and I won't even count that because that was a very simple operation. It was a sandwich bar at the end of the day, but I don't know, it just seemed a bit easier back then. I'm talking now. If you were to give tips, like that is the biggest one. I mean, I'm doing a shop now for friends of mine in San Susi. Both have no experience. So you get two guys who are about to go into a foreign industry and start running a shop, which I think will be really busy. You think it is going to be manic and it is going to be intense, but with systems, with structure, it is less intense.
So you think so in terms of organization, what I'm getting is that, have everything down that you want to do. Organize it all. If you want to do the fit out, make sure you know the builders, make sure you know all this.
Yeah, look, having a builder is, people try to do it on their own. You need to be focusing your energy on where you're going to make money. If you're doing sandwiches, it's the sandwiches. It's not the social media, in my opinion. These things can be, you get a builder to do your fit out. You don't try to wing the fit out to save a couple bucks, because that time and energy you're spending in there, you should be spending on your product, on your coffee, on, your offering, because that's going to make you money. Your fit out, like some of the best places aren't necessarily the most aesthetic. People go to Maryville Pork Rolls. It's a hole in the wall. It used to be a toilet. You can't sit there and say that they put a $400,000 fit out in there. It's just they focus on their offering, their roles,
their
and
product.
that's why there's a line at the door every weekend. So
Every day. Almost.
every day.
So you touched on a little bit of like, you didn't put that much emphasis on social media. No. What do you think the landscape of that is in the cafe scene? You see so many cafes now. It's about how they look, the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Do you think that they also bring to the table what they're offering?
Yeah,
on social media?
there is a perk for social media. I personally I don't use it. I don't have it personal. Even the business, there are people that run the business socials. But I'm not against it. I definitely think there's a reason people use it. There's massive followings. It brings business. It's helped my business. But personally, I don't invest energy into it and time. I'm personally just not a fan.
Yeah. So you think make sure your product, your fit out, look, everything,
Yeah,
your
at the end of
systems,
the
your
day,
operation.
yeah, like
is
there would
one.
be. I reckon there would be some places that are average that have a really good social following, and you may get that one-time customer. But at the end of the day, it's the product because you're not going to get the repeat customer. I always feel like people that want to open cafes now, they're just thinking, first of all, what appeals is like the lifestyle. People walk in, they see you mingling, chatting, sitting down in the bar,
atmosphere.
having breakfast. And that is true, but there's also a lot more to it. And I think you're in the game for, you may sign a 15-year lease. Your business plan, if that's your plan, it's all about longevity. And for me, I don't want to be pumping up socials to have one guy come in from 40 minutes away because my socials are really appealing and then he never comes back again.
Yeah.
It's all about longevity, and I think that is the most important part.
Yeah.
Look at the best places, those places that have been around for a long time. There's a reason. These guys were popular before social media, and they're still the same.
Yeah, true. Okay, well, like with so many cafes around, just Elwood alone, where you are, massively saturated. There was a lot of, when you were just about to open Frank and Chich, there was a lot of word going around saying, you know what I mean, exactly what Elwood needs, another cafe. But I mean, I feel like it's the same all around Sydney.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think, what was that like, hearing those sort of murmurs? Then what do you think set you apart and why you were so successful in that area?
Well, when you go on those platforms like Facebook and people were screenshotting and sending it to me, like all you can do is laugh. Like some people just really want to be heard, and that's great. But at the end of the day, the cafes have been around for years and years and years.
Who knows when they started?
They will always, my great grandparents were in shops. My grandparents were in shops. Maybe not my great grandparents, but my grandparents definitely were. But yeah, that's never going to change. I think. So yeah, like that's like the Facebook comments and people saying, "Oh, great, another cafe, here we go." Like that doesn't faze me. There's just 2% of people that want to just throw their 2 cents in.
And so then, what do you think sets you apart then?
I don't know. I don't honestly. I never take myself seriously as a businessman. I don't consider myself that. So for me, it's like that's not a personal question. I always say that, and anyone that's been a Frank and Chich or old mates, like it's the staff. I'd say what sets me apart maybe is that I pay well because I've had my staff for that long.
It's true.
There's no turn. We have no. I've never had someone leave and go to another cafe. They've always wanted to try a different industry or their visas. I happen to control for that, but like something's gone wrong in that sense. Yeah. But we've had our guys, and I've had some of the guys in my kitchen from day one. 4 years. Most of the girls have been there for 3. We have a really, really good like low turnover rate, and I think that's just we look after them. We create an environment that makes them want to work. I mean, you've worked with me for how long in Redfern, and if I ever need you, you're always there for me. But if it was a dull atmosphere, if it wasn't, if we weren't the family that we are, it wouldn't be the same. Yeah. All the girls now, like the current staff, they're all very close. Weekends, they're out. I'd say they're best friends, honestly.
I think some of them definitely are.
Yeah. So like, if I'll say what sets us apart, it's just I feel like it's how we run our business and the atmosphere that we create for our staff. Because, I'm sure I'll use Maddie as the example because Maddie's my right-hand man. But like, she's more of this traction than I am, and I'm the owner. Like, but it's kind of like Maddie's.
People come from Maddie. Yeah.
And that's super important. So
Yeah. Okay,
yeah, the
so
girls and the boys.
So you sort of, everything has a role and effect.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You treat your staff well, they treat customers well.
Yep.
It creates a good atmosphere. And I
100%.
think that's definitely one thing that draws a lot of people into your cafes is the atmosphere, you know, especially from Bean House. There were so many people, and still to this day, people that, you know, would come to the cafe and say, you know, the coffee's good. But like, you know, coffee's good everywhere. The food was good, but they come back because they come in, they talk shit, they get half an hour out of work.
Yeah, we at Bean House, I don't know if you remember, but Redfern, the cafe scene now, I'd say is a high standard. It's something like everyone kind of understands now. Like, coffee is generally pretty good, food is generally pretty good. Back in the day, it was like really, really good and then just really shit. Now everyone's around
an equilibrium.
Yeah, everyone kind of gets it. But back then, Redfern was pumping with top quality cafes, and still is. But our offering was minimal, and we were so busy. Like, we had a busy show. After those 6 months, when people got to know us,
What do we have, like 5 sandwiches?
we had 5. We had a ham cheese, a salami, a roast beef.
What else do we have? And then every other week,
Con
would come
we
up
had
with
some
a special
salad bowls or something like that. But there was a yoga bowl, some avo toast and all that, but just basics. But we did toasties. But we were busy, and a lot of it's atmosphere. A lot of it was probably price. Like, we were super competitive with price. But again, it just, I don't know. I just
atmosphere.
got on a rant. Yeah, atmosphere.
Well, you know, the Sydney cafe scene's ever expanding, and this week we got our correspondent Naomi to hit the streets and get the insight and opinions of people in Elwood and what they think of the cafe scene. So let's take a look at that, shall we?
Hello, Naomi here from the RDO show, and today we're here in the heart of Elwood, getting the scoop and the lowdown on the Cafe Sydney scene.
But I do love a good old Greek frappe.
Do you think she's got any opinions or anything to say about the Sydney cafe scene?
I don't have much to say. I'm not from the area.
What do you think about getting charged for putting 2 wheels? See that there? See that gutter thing on the gutter?
The gutter thing on the gutter?
The concrete. You see the concrete there?
Yes.
For putting 2 wheels on that to make a street safe, they pinched me $300 and something.
I don't know what I'm just not going to say her surname because I can't say it. So Fiona, what's your opinion on the cafe scene in general?
Well, firstly, I've travelled a lot and I think Australian coffee is the best.
It is like crack, isn't it? I always say that. I know probably it's not the right word to use, especially for a Liberal government side, but it is. Let's just be honest with that.
But you know what?
Tell me.
I've never been beaten in court. But I don't let them know that already.
My guy.
Nice, beautiful girl like you.
Oh, well.
You attract attention from everyone here. I hope he's not your boyfriend, otherwise he's going to thump me.
We're going to have problems, are we?
Yeah, we're going to have a problem.
Deal with it. Let's talk about it. What's the problem with the Sydney cafe?
Everything's fried
Okay.
and nothing's fresh anymore.
How do you find the cafe scene in Sydney?
Yeah, right. We come here every Saturday morning,
That's nice.
It's all right. It's good.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah, but where's the rule that I got to have eggs for breakfast?
Oh, it's a hot take, isn't it?
Where's the rule I got to have eggs for breakfast?
To be honest, you might as well just start your own business.
No, I don't want to start a business. Darling, I've got 1 foot in the grave. How long do you think you'll... I should have been dead like 37 years ago.
What's your order? Your coffee order?
Oh, a coffee, what is it? Iced coffee.
Talking on the food side, do you think it's just not it? It doesn't hit.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's all fried and...
I put on the boob when I was very young. On a lot of boobs, all right? You know what?
Swinging off him like Tarzan, were you?
The best for breakfast is pasta.
Pasta?
Leftover pasta in the frying pan the next day is the best for breakfast.
Well, you just said you didn't want fried stuff for breakfast.
Yeah, but in the frying pan, like warm it up.
our own pasta, so it's different.
It's not deep fried.
It's great coffee everywhere. Every single suburb you go to, the coffee's great. I've been around the world and nothing compares to Sydney the coffee. Maybe the atmosphere and everything else is not as good as, say, being in Europe, but in terms of coffee and what you get in terms of quality, mate, it can't be beat.
And what do you think about acai? Tell me what you think, girl, about acai. Is it good? Is it just a fad? Is it a trend? What is it?
I love it. I mean, like most
Oh, you're an acai girl.
Overrated and overpriced.
Do you reckon?
I never tried, but my
You never tried one?
no,
You just know they're overrated.
granddaughter, she loves it. Yep, I have to buy her one every day.
Do you think you and Steve Hawkins share anything in common?
No, we don't, Dylan.
like in terms of there's an acai shop on every corner.
Yeah, and also like the sauces. Can we just go there? Like the Biscoff, the pistachio papi. Like, what is all of this?
Yeah, it used to be like a healthy breakfast, and now it's like, let me go at 11 p.m. and load it up with Nutella.
That's it. Back from Greece we're 4 months in Greece.
4 months in Greece.
I
Ooh.
spent 5 months.
And we spent $150,000.
Tell me.
I've got a twin brother.
So you're throwing the brother under the bus.
So if I die, I just send him in my place.
Easy. What's your order for acai?
Always pistachio sauce. Sometimes double pistachio.
Whoa, if we're feeling a bit naughty.
I might even take his wallet with me and they can bury me. You know why?
Tell me.
I don't want to tell you, it might upset everybody.
And that's a Lamborghini, bitch.
Everyone's complaining about the price of coffee.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you're paying $5 and $5.50 for a small cappuccino.
That's why I'm broke now.
That's why I'm broke.
Yeah, I'm like, why am I spending $8 on a iced latte? Like, you just put some ice and.
I mean, it's true, but we still out here. We outside.
And I think 5 or 10 years ago was the business to be in.
Yes.
Right. What's $20 times 6?
120.
You're spending $120 on acai for your 6 grandkids.
Yes, I'll do anything for my grandkids.
Grandpapa of the year, hey.
Look, I think acai is good, but when you go and you buy an acai and it's costing you over $20 to buy an acai, it's ridiculous. I mean, in the past I've bought ingredients from home, from Coles, and I've gone home and made it myself.
Yeah.
And mate, you can do. There's 4 of us in our family. We probably get away with $20 for 4 of us, exactly the same ingredients. But when you go to a shop and they want over $20 for it, it's starting to get a little bit pricey.
What coffee are you drinking today?
Cappuccino, no sugar.
Are you always a cappuccino fan?
Yeah, I am, but they're pricing themselves out of it because things are getting too dear. You might as well go and buy 10 satchels and you get them cheap for $3.80 and you're having a cup of coffee for 40 cents.
I know.
Crazy, but I'll still pay.
Because it is what it is. Where is the best coffee that you've had? Is it in the east? Is it in the west? Is it?
You know what? Whether you like it or not, probably in the east.
I think cost of living pressures is really hurting.
Do you think she'll care a lot about the coffee?
Yes, I do.
Well, there we go.
Pretty out there opinions. So what are your thoughts on some of those videos?
I don't know, like it's the demographic. There was a few older guys, a few younger guys, like, but everyone just seems super positive, like about the industry in general. Yeah. Like no one was displeased. There was that one dude who was talking about freshness and quality, but you know, if I'm gonna like rebut what he's saying, I'd love to serve top quality steaks and premium avocados and all these like fresh produce, but you know, you're going to pay $60 when you come to a cafe.
Exactly.
That needs to be considered. So
definitely.
I think it's hard, you know, there's a happy medium, but like we're running a business and we're trying to, you know, to set margins and do our thing like every other industry. But yeah, he's in that sense, he's probably right. There is a lot of frozen, long life foods that are sold, you know, chips, burgers, all these things, but what can you do really? It's limiting wastage, like acai, like you know, like the that chick was saying, it started off as a healthy option and now it's just getting crazy with Nutella and peanut butter. But these items are things that you can buy in bulk. These things, there is minimal wastage, and I guess in that sense, it's just really easy to do.
Why do you think just to touch on acai again, because we spoke about it so
Yeah,
much.
that's cool.
Naomi loved asking that question.
Yeah, that's good.
What do you think is, this whole draw towards acai? Where do you think it came from? Why do you think people are lining up at 11 o'clock to get it?
Yeah, for sure. First and foremost, it's tasty. It's good. And you can't deny it. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be popular.
Yeah.
It's easy to eat. You can drive and eat it. You can take it. It's It's just one of those
grab and go.
Yeah,
it's tasty.
Yep.
Do you think it sort of started? Because I remember when acai first came on the scene, I remember my mum was telling me about it. It's like, oh, you've got to have these berries that I've had in the freezer for 6 years because they got really good antioxidants and shit like that. And now you see them covered in Nutella and pistachio. And I think even the acai itself isn't really that healthy.
Shocking.
Do you think that definitely got the ball rolling to this mass?
Yeah.
Do people come into the cafe and say, oh, I'm going to be healthy today, I want an acai?
Yeah, a lot, 100%. Like but what are you going to do? Sit there and lecture?
No,
like, you know how I am, and I'm not going to sit there and break it down for him. I'd love to, but that's just the way it was advertised, and people think that they're, doing themselves a favor by eating it. But if they enjoy it, whatever. If you want to put Nutella on it, if you want to put a Twix bar in it, whatever floats your boat. There's so many different options now, and people capitalize on the hype. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Pistachio Puppy, she mentioned in the video, that guy has built his product and really jumped onto the back of acai and the hype. And how many acai trucks are there right now? How many acai businesses are there? Yeah. He is in most of them. But then, as always, there'll be guys who mimic the product. There's be a lot of guys who, behind the scenes, are making their own pistachio for cheaper, and then the cycle forever will continue.
Yeah. How long do you see this acai?
It's like I said, it tastes good. It'll last. Like frozen yogurt. It's all branding and marketing. That's why these guys, Thirsty Monkey, I don't know the other guys. I don't follow any of these things, but Thirsty Monkey stands out. Obviously, it's pretty known, but it's all branding, and it's all marketing. And like, kudos to him. I respect that side of the business. I don't look at it and think like, I don't need acai, but you can't not respect 100%. The business model. Look what he's done.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, it's kind of reminds me of Yochi. Yochi, like that frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
Yochi was around yonks ago.
Yeah.
It's not new.
And it's sort of.
But it's just the way it's been branded.
Yeah.
And now it's just popped off again. Probably the same thing will happen with acai. Maybe it'll die out, and then in 10 years someone will.
It'll come back again.
Yeah. Maybe Thirsty Monkey's son will be 20 years old and start screaming around the streets, and it'll start again. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll wait and see. So working in cafes, you've got to be hyper social. There's 10 people coming in every 5 minutes. You've always got to be on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you're having a bad day, you can't really show that in the cafe, You've always got to be on. How does that, how do you manage that? And then how do you manage that with your home life and, behind the scenes of operating the cafe and that kind of stuff? How do you balance all that?
I think anyone who knows me knows that I'm pretty raw and real with how I am day to day. Like it's harder to be fake than it is to be yourself. So I'm not going to just sit there with a smile on my face all day and pretend it's on your door. If I've got the shit, you're going to know about it. Yeah. I've broken plates in there. I've bashed in fridges under the counter. I'm not there to please anyone else. The same way I speak to a 10-year-old and a 20-year-old is the same way I'm speaking to an 80-year-old. I'm probably swearing a lot during conversation with an 80-year-old who asks me how my day is, and I'm saying, it's not bad. I'm fucking just kicking away. Like I'm saying that to an 80-year-old woman, and I'm going to talk like that to a 20-year-old. Like that side, I just be myself, and whatever. I'm not putting no mask on and
trying to be
pretending.
fake. Yeah, 100%. How does that, when you get home, are you still that same guy? Is that?
Yeah, probably. I am. There's times where I'm worn out, but I'm probably a bit more of a mute at home after. But then I get a phone call from one of my mates or the FaceTime on a group chat, and I just go berserk again. And it starts like I'm pretty hyped 24/7.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone's got parts where they're just tired, but yeah, I feel like I'm pretty much the same
all around,
all day, every day.
I see that. Right, so look, it's been great, and I've got one last question. If you could go back in time, and, you know, change 3 things in terms of, you know, opening the bean house, opening Frank and Church, opening Old Mates, what do you think those 3 things would be? And let's say, you know, what value do you think this might bring to someone else, those 3 things?
Would have pushed the boundaries harder and done more in certain times. When I think about Bean House, it was a really rare opportunity that I was given. The rent was dirt cheap, the lease was good. I wasn't paying for water or electrical, but I felt like I just became complacent and just happy with where I was. If I think about that space now and the rent I was paying and how it was and the volume of people, I definitely could have pushed the boundaries there and turned that business into something really special. Even though it was good, it could have been really, really good. And I probably would have stayed there. I would, if I could do that again, I would have still had that shop right now. I would never have sold that. I would just have kept it as it was, and I'd still be trading there now if I could. So
more opportunities, you know, go harder when you get those opportunities.
100%. Frank and Chich as well. It's easy to
look
say
back
it
and
now,
say that.
but
that's what we're doing.
But that's exactly. So I think in that respect, just pushed it a little more, and not to say to work harder and to grind to the point where you've got nothing left and you're stressed through the roof.
Still have a work-life balance.
Yeah, 100%. You just be smarter. Spend more time looking at ways to just make life easier. I feel like,
and that goes back to those systems and operations.
I feel like when I think of business personally, and I always say, like, I know you gave me the pump up at the start with the shops, but I'm just trying to create I'm just trying to create time for myself to be able to do the things I enjoy the most, whether that be with my family, be at the beach, training. That's that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to take over the world and become a cafe mogul. I enjoy opening cafes. I enjoy hospitality, but I also...
You don't want to work yourself to the bone.
No way.
Beautiful.
That's it.
All right, those 2. Easy. All right, well, look, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you,
It's a pleasure. Thanks for doing the first episode.
Yeah.
If you at home are watching and you like that, give us a like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned.
Sweet.
Say goodbye.